So it's not the holidays yet, but Hallmark already on their website started revealing a whole bunch of their Christmas ornaments for the Christmas 2019 season. And no surprise, continuing this tradition that they've been doing for well over 10 years now, they are going to be releasing yet another Generation 1 toy-inspired Christmas ornament. Now, in the past, Hallmark, along with Card Carlton's and General Greetings, they've done a lot of these. Both those companies have done a lot of Christmas ornaments that really pretty much are straight up the Generation 1 toys unarticulated. Like it's like they just kind of froze them.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that they've done in the past a Bumblebee. But this time around, and I think it's kind of funny, the decision that they went this time around with is that they've done the exact same thing, but now they've done it based off of the reissue design. And what I mean by that is the original G1 Bumblebee toy, we all know, had that very different bug kind of battle mask face design. And then we got the reissue from the Encore series in Japan, and then later on what showed up in stores here in Walmart, the G1 Bumblebee reissue, which had the more show-accurate face. So they're basing it off of that one. And I mean, when you're talking that one too, also the little extra details like the painted in headlights and the rear tail lights, very specific, based off of that Encore / Walmart exclusive G1 reissue. So that's pretty interesting that they're going to be doing that. It's more or less the same size, maybe a little larger than the original toy. What I find ironic here, and it's just like, it's more or less the same size as the original toy. It's not going to transform. It's going to be stiff. And no offense to Hallmark, but some of their ornaments are also kind of fragile. But yet the pre-order price here is $16.99. And I'm going like, man, how much were those G1 reissues in retail in Canada? What were those, $12.99? And they were like $9.99 in the States? Yo, just go buy a bunch of those and hang those on your tree. Like, that's kind of pricey, considering that it's more or less going to be, it's like you literally took the G1 Walmart toy, covered it in crazy glue so it couldn't move anymore, and then you attached a hook to it. And then that's it. So, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the price, but I understand where they're coming from. You know, decorations are kind of seen as collectibles, and they're done in smaller numbers, and they're made during a smaller window of time, pretty much. And it's funny because I think I've said this before when we talked about Christmas decorations. Like, they're one of these things that they show up in November, or late October, early November.
Yeah.
And then by the time like Christmas is rolling around, and definitely after Christmas, they're all like 50% to 90% off.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you never see them ever again. And I know that the year that just passed, we had a whole bunch of different G1 related ones and stuff that were showing up at Walmart. And I mean, the quality was kind of hit or miss on those, kind of the same thing. And literally, like, people were like, we'll wait. And then, like, the day after Christmas, like, Walmart was blowing them out at like 70% off. And people were picking up like the Bumblebee and a whole bunch of the other ones for absolutely nothing. But I mean, these are still cool. I appreciate that Hallmark does these every year. I kind of liked it when they did some more original kind of stuff. I know they did one year that had like, it was just like Bumblebee like standing on, like a platform and like with a cool pose based off of, it almost looked kind of like Pat Lee's design of Bumblebee.
Okay.
I kind of like it when they do kind of original stuff, but in the past recent years they've been kind of just like, I know last year they did Starscream, where they just kind of said, we're going to take G1 Starscream and freeze him in a very neutral pose, and that's the ornament, so yeah, that's a thing, and it's part of their keepsake ornament collection. So again, quality will range from one to the other. If you're someone that kind of wants to get this but are on a budget, just wait until Boxing Day, and you'll definitely be able to get it cheaper.
I'm kind of looking at one of the comments in this the news on TFW 2005 for this, and I completely agree. For 2020, I'm hoping for either a Jazz or Shockwave from Death Cat G. I'm totally there with you guys.
Oh yeah, well, and see, and that's the thing.
As soon as that Jazz drops, part of me is like, buy it full price, don't care.
Well, yeah, up to this point of that style, they've done Optimus Prime, they've done Megatron, they've done Starscream, they've done Soundwave, and now they've done Bumblebee. So, like, again, from a logical standpoint, I could see Grimlock next in one mode or the other.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, because I always say, like, I always say the top 8, you know, and that's part of that top 8. The Grimlock, like Devastator, I don't know, that'd be a mess. They'd have to make it smaller. You know, and he'd also be a lot more fragile because of the connection points. But I mean,
the
outside
connection
of
points and then his like wingspan that he has.
Oh yeah,
for
like
Grimlock, you know, it may not be that great.
I would see Grimlock, like it would have to be like the alt mode. But aside from that, like it's just, you know, I could see Jazz. Jazz makes a lot more sense. Shockwave, those are like the second tier guys. Like Jazz to me is way above Hot Rod in terms of notoriety. I mean, from within the fandom's one thing, but from a mainstream point.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? So like, yeah, I could see Jazz, but yeah, definitely, you know, check these out. The website has also, they're showing all the other like non-Transformer related stuff. So definitely check it out.